Hey guys, hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today in this video and from this series onwards, we are going to take 5 new questions. So this is a new series which I'm going to start keeping in mind the upcoming CSIR NET exam. Now we don't know when the exam is going to be held because there is no notification yet, and I'm getting those questions again and again in the comments. So I'm just telling you all that the notification, official notification, is not yet uploaded. Up till the time I'm uploading this video, there is no official notification, and we don't know when the exam is going to be. Okay, as soon as the notification will come or any information about the exam will be there, I'll definitely inform you all. Okay, all right, so this series is going to be very useful for those who are in search of new questions. Okay, these new questions are going to help you a little bit more in your preparation, right? So today's topic is thermodynamics. I have taken 5 different types of questions, 5 new types of questions, and that's what we are going to do in this video. Okay, now before starting it, let me tell you that I also teach for CSIR NET and GATE exam on the Unacademy Plus platform. More about Unacademy Plus at the later part of this video. So without wasting any time, let's continue with our video now. Alright, let's take this first question. It says that the correct relationship between the thermodynamic properties of the ideal gas is, and where alpha is basically your cubic expansion coefficient and kT is your isothermal compressibility. So both the things are being involved, and you have to tell me the value of Cp minus Cv for the ideal gas. Okay, so let's try to do this particular question. So basically, how to start it? You have to start it from the cyclic rule. Okay, you have to start it from the cyclic rule. So your cyclic rule says that your P is basically a function of temperature and volume. Pressure is function of temperature and volume. So you can apply the cyclic rule over here. So dP upon dt at constant V multiplied by dt upon dV at constant P multiplied by dV upon dP at constant T, and plus 1 should be 0, or you can say this whole thing is equals to minus 1, right? So basically what you will get is dP upon dt at constant V will be equal to minus 1. This will go to the other side, so minus 1, and divided by del T upon del V at constant P and del V upon del P at constant T. Alright, this is what I can write down. Now I can just take it to the above side, and this equation is going to become del P upon del T at constant V is equals to, when I take this dV by dt, okay, I am just going to reverse this. So dt by dV will become dV by dt. So that means it is minus, because of this minus 1, that minus sign will come, and dV by dt at constant P divided by dV by dP at constant T. Alright, dV by dt at constant T remained like that. This got reversed, and minus sign is just the way it is. So that means you are going to get this particular thing. Okay, let's keep it as equation number 1. Now one more thing which we already know as the value of your Cp minus Cv for the real gas. So Cp minus Cv is equals to T del P by del T at constant V and del V by del T at constant P. Okay, this is what we already know for Cp minus Cv. In case you don't know, just remember this. Okay, this is the value for your real gas. By the way, I think this is the mistake in the question. It should be real gas. Okay, fine. Coming back to this. So now what we are going to do is we are just going to substitute the value. Okay, we are just going to substitute the value of this in this equation. So I am going to get Cp minus Cv is equals to minus T. Okay, I am just going to substitute its value. So minus came because of that, and then dV by dt at constant P whole square. So dV by dt at constant P whole square, and divided by, you will have dV by dP at constant T. Okay, this is what you are going to get. And now you know the values, okay, because alpha is basically equal to 1 upon V dV by dt at constant P, and not beta, here it is given as kT, so that is equals to minus 1 upon V and dV by dP at constant T. So you can substitute their value. So 1 upon V, we don't have 1 upon V over here, okay. So basically dV by dt at constant P is going to be alpha V. So I can just substitute in the place of this will be alpha square V square, right? Because the value of this is going to be alpha V. So I can just substitute it over here. So I'm just going to use this thing that dV by dt at constant P will be equal to alpha V and dV by dP at constant T will be equal to minus V kT. So I'm just going to substitute these two values over here. So I'm going to get Cp minus Cv is equals to minus T. Here I'm going to get alpha square V square divided by the value of this is going to be minus V kT. Now you can cancel out 1V and 1V, and that's what is going to, and this minus and minus will also get cancelled out. So you will get T alpha square V divided by kT. So that is going to be your final answer. If you look upon here, so that is going to be in your option number C. Okay, in option number C. So T alpha square V upon kT. So this should be the value of Cp minus Cv for your real gas or for the ideal for the van der Waals gas. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go to the next question then. All right. So let's talk about this particular question over here. It says that a given sample of water having mass m and temperature T1 is mixed with another sample of equal mass of water but at temperature T2. Okay. When T2 is greater than T1 and if the process is done adiabatically and isobarically, then the total entropy change for the process is. So now the question is little bit twisted over here. There are two things which are given. The mass of the water is given, temperature at which it is mixed is also given, and another sample is given where it is mixed at a different temperature T2. The process is done adiabatically. That means there is no heat given to the system, neither heat taken from the system. Heat is conserved. And the second thing is that the process is done isobarically. Okay, so isobaric process is there. So now you have to tell the total entropy change in the process. So how you have to do this? Let's first of all talk about that what is the formula for entropy change. So delta S is equals to mCp ln T final upon T initial. Okay, this is the formula to calculate entropy change in a isobaric process. Okay, so this is entropy change for isobaric process. So the entropy change is given by this particular formula. You know Cp is your molar heat capacity at constant pressure, Tf is your final temperature, Ti is the initial temperature. Now we don't know what the final temperature is, although we know two initial temperatures T1 and T2. Now we also know that heat is conserved at, let's say, temperature T1. So Qt1, that means heat given to the system at temperature T1 for the adiabatic process is going to be given by mCp Tf minus T1. So you have mixed at T1. There will be some change in the temperature because the process is not isothermal. So some temperature change is going to happen. Let's say the final temperature reached is Tf. Okay, Cp is again the molar heat capacity at constant pressure. M is the mass. So mCp T2 minus T1 is the formula. I have taken it as mCp Tf minus T1 for the heat change at temperature T1. Now again you have a Qt2 will again be given by same thing. It will be mCp and the temperature F and minus T2 will be given. Alright. So these things why I am doing, because I don't know the value of Tf. I don't know the value of final temperature. So for that I have to do this. Okay. Right. Now one thing which you have to keep in mind is that the process is adiabatic. Okay. That means heat given to the system and heat taken to the system. Overall heat is remaining conserved. Okay. So there is no heat which is lost from the system. So that means the first system is going to lose some heat and the second system is going to gain some heat. Okay, so just write down that thing because overall heat is going to be conserved. So that's why, because two processes are happening, right? So one process will leave or it is going to evolve some heat and the second process is going to absorb that heat. So that means that heat lost by first sample this is going to be equal to heat gained by second sample. Now this thing is also given to you that T2 is greater than T1, that makes itself QT2 is smaller than QT1, right? So that means ki QT1 will be, now I'll just write down here that since T2 is greater than T1, therefore what we can say that QT2 will be, because if you put T2 greater value than T1, so QT2 will become smaller than QT1, right? This is according to the values of T2 and T1 in the given equations. Now as we know these much things, now we can resolve this, that because the heat given from one system is taken to the other system, so that means QT1 will be equal to minus QT2. So one of the system is basically absorbing the heat and the other one is giving the heat. So sign is given like that, one will be positive and the other one is going to be negative. Now put the values of QT1 and QT2, so it will be MCP and you will have TF minus T1 is equals to minus MCP and you will have TF minus T2. Now MCP and MCP can be cancelled out very easily and you are going to get TF minus T1 is equals to minus TF and plus T2. On solving these equations, you are going to get TF will be equal to, because you can see that the TF will come this side, it will become 2 times of TF because that will get added. So 2 times of TF will be equivalent to T1 plus T2, or I can say that TF is equals to T1 plus T2 divided by 2. Alright. So this is going to be my final temperature value. Now just keep this as your equation number 1. You know that the entropy change at temperature T1, delta S at T1 will be given by MCP ln TF upon T1, and your entropy change at temperature T2 will be like MCP ln TF upon T2. Now the overall entropy change is going to be sum of both of them. So the total entropy change delta S will be delta S T1 plus delta S T2, because this is going to be the sum of entropy change in both the processes or both the samples. You just have to add both of them. So MCP is going to be constant in both the cases and you will have ln TF upon T1 plus ln TF upon T2. Now you know this, that ln A plus ln B is ln A into B. So you have to multiply both of them basically. So that means you can write down MCP and this will become ln TF square divided by T1 T2. Now this is what I have got as my value of overall entropy change. I have to substitute the value of TF from equation 1 to this in order to get my final value. So when I am going to substitute it as the final value, I am going to get something like this. Okay, so let me just substitute it. So this is going to be delta S is equals to MCP ln, and it will be 1 upon T1 T2, and in the bracket it will be T1 plus T2 divided by 2 whole square, right? That's what it will be, because TF is square, so I have just substituted its value as a square. Or I can write down delta S is equals to MCP ln, it will be T1 plus T2 upon 2 T1 T2. Okay, I can take this as under root and then square it. Why I have taken under root? Because on squaring this under root is going to vanish. So that just becomes this much. So this 2 can come outside, because you know that ln x to the power square is 2 ln x, right? So ln x square is nothing but 2 ln x. So that's what I'm going to use. So my delta S is going to be 2 MCP ln T1 plus T2 divided by 2 under root T1 T2. Okay, so this is how it needs to be solved, and this is what is going to be the final answer. So if you look upon the options, your correct option is option number A. Okay, so this is how it has to be done. You have to understand that what the process is given, and you have to know the formula of entropy change in your isobaric process, and then you have to put that to solve that particular question. All right. Okay, let's go to the next one then. All right guys, let's look upon this particular question. It says that a temperature dependent chemical reaction gives the following relation with delta g. Delta g is equals to a plus bt plus ct square. Here a, b and c are constants. So what is the possible corresponding value of change in heat capacity at constant pressure? So they are asking you to find out the value of Cp. Okay, that's what they are asking. So let's try this. So basically you have delta G given to you. So delta G is equals to A plus Bt plus Ct square. What is going to be the value of del delta G by del T? I am just going to differentiate this. Now A is a constant, differentiation of a constant is 0. B will remain as it is, differentiation of T will be 1, and plus C is also a constant, differentiation of T square will be 2T. Okay, so I am going to get B plus 2Ct. Alright, so if you know this relation that dg is equals to vdp and minus s dt, that makes del g upon del t at constant p is equals to minus s, or I can write down at del delta g by del t at constant p should be equal to minus delta s. So that means this whole thing, if I do at constant pressure, this whole thing at constant pressure, this should be equal to delta s. If I take this, I am going to get nothing but del delta g by del t at constant p will be equal to b plus 2ct. Alright. Now on equating both these equations, let it be equation number 1, this as equation number 2. On equating both of them, I will get minus delta s is equals to this much. So minus delta s is equals to, this is going to be b plus 2ct. Alright, so I have got the value of entropy. Now I want Cp. So for that I have to differentiate this once again with respect to temperature. So that is going to be like minus delta s del delta s by del t at constant p will be equal to the coefficient, this is a constant, so differentiation of that will become 0, and this particular thing will be 2c, and differentiation of t will become 1. So we'll just get 2c here. Now you know that since del delta s by del t at constant p is nothing but equal to delta Cp upon t. Okay, this is equals to delta Cp upon t. So you can just substitute its value over here. So with that you will get, so if this is equation number 3, this is equation number 4, you can equate both of them and you will get as your alright, so on equating this you will get delta minus you are going to get minus delta Cp by t, because I have just substituted its value. Minus sign is as it is, delta Cp upon t will be there, and on the other side I will have 2c, or I can say delta Cp will be equal to minus 2ct. This is going to be my final value. So change in your heat capacity at constant pressure is going to be given by minus 2ct, and that's there in your option number A. So option A is your correct choice for this. Alright, let's go for the next question then. Okay, over here in this question it says that for a solid and liquid the value of del H upon del P at constant T is equals to. So how to do this particular question? For this you need to find out first of all the equation for del dH, change in enthalpy. So that is equals to du plus P dV and plus VdP. Now you need to find out del H by del P at constant T. So either you can do it like this, or you can use the second thermodynamic equation of a state, but fine, you can just use it like that only. So we are just going to do dH by is equals to this much, so I am just going to differentiate. So dH by dP at constant T will be equal to del U by del P at constant T. I am just differentiating the whole equation with respect to P, keeping temperature as constant, plus V, and then we will be having, here we have dV, okay, this is V. So we will be having dV by dP at constant T and plus V, because dP when differentiating with respect to P will become 1. Fine, so this is what I have got. Now I can just write it down, this particular thing, like del U by del V at constant T and multiplied by del V by del P at constant T. Okay, this thing I have done. Why what I have done, I have multiplied and divided by dV. and plus I will get P dV by dP at constant T and plus V. This is what I have got. Now you know that del U by del V at constant T is equals to 0. So since del U by del V at constant T is equal to 0, so this particular part will become 0. So that means dH upon dP at constant T will become equal to P dV by dP at constant T and plus V. This is what I am going to get. Now here if you see, your dV by dP is basically telling you the variation in volume with respect to pressure. So if you apply a pressure, how the volume is going to change. Now in the solid and liquid both, like it is negligible, right? That means if you vary the pressure, the volume does not changes that much. If you take a solid, if you apply the pressure on it, if it is a solid, if it is a crystalline solid, or if it is a solid, not elastic, not like that, okay, not, and you don't have to take those conditions, okay, just take the general solid condition. So for that, if you apply pressure on that, the change in volume is very negligible. Same goes for liquid also. On applying pressure, the change in volume is negligible. So that particular part can be kept as 0. Okay, so this part can be kept as 0. So here you can write it down that since change in volume with respect to pressure in solid and liquid is negligible, that's why dV upon dP at constant T is equals to, it's approximately equal to 0. What does that means? It means that dH upon dP at constant T should be equal to V. Okay, this should be your final answer, and option number C becomes your correct choice for this. Alright, so this is how it needs to be done. Now in case if the question was not given for solid and liquid, it was just asked about the value of dH upon dP at constant T, then the answer would have been option number B, because we are getting this thing. Alright, so this is how it has to be done. Let's go for the next question then. Alright, let's talk about this particular question. It says that the value of delta Hm, the change in molar enthalpy of the real gas undergoing isothermal expansion / compression is. Okay, so the values are given to you like that. You have to find it out. So the relation of your delta H upon delta P at constant T and the relation of this with your Joule-Thomson coefficient mu Jt is basically given by this, that is del H upon del P at constant T is equals to minus Cp and mu Jt, right? Mu Jt is your Joule-Thomson coefficient. Now from where it came and why it came, I'll tell you. Okay, this will be used over here. See, wherever in the real gas you are applying expansion or compression, there Joule-Thomson coefficient comes into play. That's why we have applied this particular thing. So now we have to apply it for the molar value. So I will just put M here to express in the form of molar, and this will be Cpm molar values. Mu Jt is basically for 1 mole, so that we don't have to do anything. Now we know that the value of your Joule-Thomson coefficient mu Jt is equals to 1 upon Cp and M, and it is equals to 2a upon RT and minus B. This is the value of your Joule-Thomson coefficient. So that means I can write down the value of Cpm multiplied by mu Jt as 2a upon RT minus B. So this whole thing I can substitute here, right? So make this equation number 1, make this equation number 2. So on comparing both these equations, I can just substitute the values there. So in that way, the value of del Hm divided by del P at constant T should be equal to, alright, so that should be equal to, this goes with the negative sign here, so minus 2a upon RT and minus B. This is what you will get. Alright, so what you have to do now is you have to solve this negative sign, so this will become minus, like B minus 2a upon RT Alright, but here in the question you don't have to calculate the value of del H upon del like del HM upon del P at T. You have to calculate the value of delta H. So for that you have to multiply this dP to the other side and then you have to write it down. So basically this will become del HM and this will be equal to, you just have to take like LCM over here as RT, it will be BRT minus 2A and it will be del P. Now since in the question they have asked about delta H and the answer is in the terms of delta P, so that's why we can convert this del H in the terms of delta H. Del is very small change, delta is little like calculatable change. So delta HM is equals to BRT minus 2A and divided by RT, and here you will have delta P. This is going to be the final value. Okay, and if you look upon this, this is BRT minus 2A upon RT delta P, that's your option number A. Alright, so these were 5 different questions, 5 new types of questions which probably are not asked in the previous CSIR exams. And the sole motive of making these videos is to provide you with some new questions, to provide you certain new types of questions so that you need to know that how to solve or how to apply the concepts which you have already studied while solving the questions. Okay, so I hope that the video was helpful to you, and I hope that the upcoming videos, whatever will come in this particular series, you will love that, you will enjoy watching those videos. Do let me know in the comment section that which topic you want more new questions on. Okay, so let me know in the comment sections below. Before ending the video, let me tell you about my classes which are running on Unacademy Plus. So I teach live for CSIR Net as well as for the GATE preparation on the Unacademy Plus platform, and my classes are over there free and paid both. So in case if you want to join my paid dedicated classes, you can join that. In the paid classes you will get complete syllabus, plus you will also get doubt clearing session. Along with that you will also get mock test. Whereas if you just want to see how the live classes work, you can go for the free classes on the Unacademy platform. The link is there in the description. You just go to the page and you can just check it out, my profile, and you can just watch my free classes over there. Okay, in case if it is asked to put some referral code during opening any class, you can put my referral code, that is n_huda. And in case if you want to join Unacademy Plus platform for your preparation of CSIR Net exam, then also you can use my referral code, that is n_huda, while taking the Unacademy Plus subscription. Right, so this was it for this particular video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have a great day. Bye bye.